What if I told you that one of the most terrifying horror films of 2026 was actually created by a YouTuber? Not a Hollywood veteran, not a franchise reboot machine, a YouTuber who turned a low budget internet horror concept into one of the most anticipated films of the year. Today we're breaking down the brand new trailer for Backrooms, the upcoming A24 horror film directed by Kane Parsons, also known as Kane Pixels. And after watching this trailer, I don't think people are really ready for how unsettling this movie actually might be. So before we get into the trailer itself, let's talk about what Backrooms actually is. This whole thing started as a creepy internet post, an image of endless yellow office hallways and fluorescent lighting and damp carpets. And the idea was simple. If you were to clip out of reality, then you would end up here in these back rooms, a place that seems very familiar but also seems very wrong. The concept exploded into a full-blown internet myth and eventually a viral YouTube series created by Kane Parsons, whose original Backrooms videos racked up tens of millions of views. Now, to go a little bit deeper into what these backrooms were, essentially somebody started a Reddit or a 4chan or something to that effect that talked about backrooms of department stores, because apparently people were getting lost in places like IKEA, Walmart, Best Buy, furniture stores. Like they would go into a specific aisle and kind of get stuck there for hours, or they'd go in to buy one or two things and they would make their purchase and walk out, and it would be 6 hours after they initially walked in, and they can't explain what happened to that time. At least that is the myth of what the backrooms are. So what they're saying is that there are these portals inside the department stores and you don't see them. You just kind of clip out of your current reality and you end up in this empty space that's the back rooms of the department store. This is supposedly like a real thing that people believe in. It's completely insane, but people believe in it and it's a thing out there. So A24 capitalized on, this crazy new trend, and they saw the horror in it and they created the Backrooms. So now that same creator of the viral YouTube series about the Backrooms is now directing an A24 feature film. So now that you understand what the Backrooms are, let's talk about the trailer, because this trailer does something very smart. It doesn't try to over-explain anything, and there's no heavy exposition, no forced lore dumps. Instead, it leans into confusion, disorientation, and dread. We see glimpses of characters, but the trailer really keeps their roles very vague. And that's important because Backrooms isn't about characters first, it's about atmosphere. And the trailer absolutely nails that. What makes this trailer so effective is something that most horror movies completely ignore: liminal horror. This isn't about jump scares, it's not even about monsters, at least not primarily. It's about spaces that feel wrong. Empty office rooms, endless hallways, flickering lights, places that look normal but feel deeply unnatural. The Backrooms taps into a very specific type of fear. That same feeling you got as a kid wandering somewhere that you weren't supposed to be, or glitching outside of the map in a video game. That idea that you're somewhere that shouldn't exist, and that's literally the tagline of this film. You're not supposed to be here. And the trailer leans very heavily into that. And another thing that stands out, this still feels a lot like a found footage movie just evolved. Kane Parsons built his entire Backrooms series using that style, and you can see traces of that all over this trailer. The camera movements feel raw, the visuals feel slightly off. There's a sense that we're watching what wasn't meant to be seen, but now with a bigger budget and studio backing, and it feels like found footage meets cinematic horror. And honestly, that might be the perfect combination, because one of the biggest problems with modern horror is that it looks too clean, and this definitely doesn't. Now let's talk about the story, because even though the trailer is definitely cryptic, there are clues. We know the film centers around disappearance, possibly involving someone entering the back rooms through a doorway in the real world. There are also hints that this version of the Backrooms might involve investigations, or possibly a therapist or search effort, and some kind of expanding understanding of what this place actually is. This lines up for a deeper lore from the YouTube series where the Backrooms aren't just random, but possibly constructed, studied, and controlled. And that opens the door to something much bigger than people just getting lost. Now let's be real for a second, because this movie shouldn't work. It's based on a meme, created by a YouTuber, and built on an abstract internet lore. And yet it might be one of the most important horror films in years. Because this is the first time we're seeing a true internet-born horror get adapted onto the big screen. Not a creepypasta-inspired movie, but the creepypasta. And early reactions are already praising the trailer for capturing that unsettling feeling perfectly. If this works, it changes everything. So this trailer doesn't just look good, it actually feels different. It's quiet, it's unsettling, and it trusts the audience enough to sit in discomfort, which is something that most horror movies today are afraid to do. If the full film can maintain this atmosphere, Backrooms might end up being one of the most genuinely terrifying movies of the decade. Not because it shows you everything, but because it doesn't. But what do you think? Does this trailer actually scare you, or is it just another overhyped horror film? And more importantly, do you think Backrooms can actually work as a full-length feature? Please let me know in the comments, and make sure to hit that subscribe button.